Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, introducing you to my Mass Effect 3 Insanity difficulty video walkthrough. This is the second part to Mars, and as you can see we're going cover to cover evading the automated turret. But once again, this is more of a tutorial level than anything, so I'm going to be talking more about strategies and tips and things like that to try and, get you set up for the rest of the game. There's actually a pretty challenging area coming up in this place, and it's when you go into the monorail cars. As soon as you land on the opposite side of the station, on the tram cars, or whatever they're called, there's a pretty big firefight, and it gets really hairy. And early on, you're not very equipped, you don't have that, much good stuff, and you can get overrun very quickly. But there is a bit of cover in that area that makes it easier, and I'm hopefully going to show you a good way of doing that. But until then, there's a lovely firefight over here. And right there, I fucking hate that grenade animation. Why does Shepard do that super dramatic pose of pulling back and then throwing it like he's pitching a ball? There's no need, it just gets you hit. He should just do a really quick fucking roll and get it out there instead of that madness. Look at that dude just like chilling out in my face. Get down, son. But a lot of you might be wondering why I started a new game. Excuse me. Some of these videos are kind of long, so my throat's getting dry as balls because I've not done these kind of commentaries for a while, so I do apologise about that. But I started a new game for two reasons. The first is, if I'm level 1 and I'm playing and people using the guide have just picked up Mass Effect 3, they've never played a Mass Effect, they're going to be level 1 as well. And that means that I'm going to be taking on the situation as if I was a new player. It's going to be at its most punishing difficulty, and it should translate to anybody in any situation should be able to use my techniques, my strategies, or just my insight to help them surpass whatever section is giving them problems. The second thing is, I actually think it's more fun. Because my first playthrough, I didn't realise at the start that they'd given me my character from Mass Effect 2, so I started it at like level 30 or something stupid. So you immediately start out spec'd to the teeth. You've got all your abilities, you're super strong. It's silly, but what the game does to make it still a challenge is it automatically buffs the enemies to your level. It will scale them to you to keep the game challenging. The only problem with this theory is when you're level 30 and you're taking on enemies level 30, all it translates to is that they have a lot of life. So you're going to be shooting people 10 times more than you want to, and they take forever to die. And towards the end of the game, when you hit level 50, it just becomes this test of patience where you're shooting enemies so many times, it's feasibly impossible for their body to sustain that amount of fire. It's stupid. It's as stupid as Centurions and the smoke grenades that he's raping me with right now because he's a douchebag coward. But the enemies just become so much... They're just bullet sponges. They become... It's not fun to fight them. It becomes a chore to fight, and I don't like that. And when you start a new game, everything's at your level, everything's low and crappy like you are, and they do still take a beating, but they do not take anywhere near the amount of beating they take when you're kitted up. And it's this double-sided sword. Do you want to be weaker and have the enemies more manageable when it comes to how much you have to physically hurt them? Or do you want to have more abilities at your disposal but have to kill the enemies 10 minutes longer than you would normally? That is the choice. And hopefully this guide should help anybody who decides either way, because that's just how it's designed. But one thing I would say for Tali, if you're going to use her, is change her weapon to the heavy pistol, because the submachine gun on this game is fucking useless. I don't know anybody that wants that skittle shooter. It's crap. It's really bad. I don't like it at all. And as for Shepard, guns are always going to be a preface. It's always going to be somebody's preference over somebody else's. So everyone's going to have their own way they think is the best way to deal with the situation. And we're all probably going to come to a different consensus depending on abilities and all that good stuff. But I always think it's good to have a weapon to fall back on like an assault rifle. And I always think a sniper rifle is going to give you the advantage when it comes to dealing massive damage from a distance. So they're the two that I always try and keep with me. The pistol is more of a luxury for me because there's a gun I'm going to be getting later on called the Scorpion. It's a heavy pistol, and it is my favourite gun on the game. It is the daftest, it's just fun. It's so overpowered, yet it's kind of balanced at the same time. It's amazing. I really enjoy it. But we're coming up to the section that's actually the first real challenge of the game, if in my opinion, that is, because, like I say, this is going to be such a subjective guide, it's going to be unbelievable. There's people that will not have any challenge in the areas that I do, there's people that are going to have their ass slapped in places that I don't even bat an eyelid in. It's just how, the nature of the beast, the way this game is going to work. And there's a lot of math going on underneath the game systems as well. And what I mean by this is, for instance, the attire that your team wears, they have 2 outfits. I don't know if you can get more, because like I say, I haven't explored the universe yet. But the 2 outfits they have both have 2 different natural abilities. One of them is generally reduce recharge time, the other one is generally powers do more damage. And depending on what your playstyle is will depend on what outfit you want them to wear. And the same thing translates to Shepard. When you're picking up the armor pieces, don't think that they're just, you know, flimsy, trivial, cosmetic things. They actually have a bearing on your amount of shield and your amount of life. So you want to always be going back to your captain's crew and checking your armor. And the first time through of the game, I was mix and matching armor to try and get something that I liked, and I actually ended up picking style over function, so a lot of my armor did not benefit me much, but it looked kind of cool. And what I decided to do on the guide is I went to get a universal piece of armor that anybody could get, so that when you come into my guide, you know, like 20 videos in, and you look at my character and you go, well, I've not picked that piece of armor up, so I can't wear that, so this immediately doesn't relate to me. So instead, what I did is I saved up 50,000 credits, I went to the Citadel, I looked in all the shops at all those, you know, bonus armors that were on Mass Effect 2, I saw which one had the abilities that I thought sounded most interesting, and if I'm completely honest, I picked the one that I thought looked coolest, the one that I wanted to use, and it might not be the best one, there may be better armors, but I will say this much, I buy the collector's armor and I use it for the rest of the game. So it might be the weakest armor, it might be the gayest armor in your opinion, but it's the armor I choose, so if you want to put a better one on, or a more powerful one on, feel free to, it'll just make the game easier. But this is the first real firefight of Mass Effect 3. And it's a long one, because you're going to get a bunch of the Centurions, a bunch of the standard dudes will be rushing you, and a bunch of the Guardian guys. And the reason this is challenging is they're aggressive, so they push forward, and the only real cover in this room is these pillars, because if you go up against the sides, it's a pain in the ass to kill people. And right there, the awareness that I was on there was like fucking Jedi mode, because I saw the grenade to my left, I saw the guy to my right, and I was aiming at the guy on the right while positioning myself to put the pillar between me and the grenade. So sometimes you've got to do shit like that just to stay alive, so you want to be really careful with grenades. But Singularity buffs them into the air, then you can use your gun to take them out. Your main enemy here is ammo, because you'll notice the enemies are getting super close. I've got 5 bullets left in my pistol. I'm pretty much relying on Ashley and Liara's abilities right now, and I have 4 shots in my sniper rifle, and a sniper up close is not the most recommended tool. As this guy comes into the room and I try and punch him. Another tip with a soldier as well, if you're doing a last-ditch attempt at anything, be it, you know, running forward to punch a guy to try and kill him because it's all you've got left, or, you know, just trying to rush to cover to try and, you know, regenerate and get from being a sliver of life and hopefully not die, you always want to do it in adrenaline burst, or whatever the adrenaline mode's called, because it's going to save your ass. Not only can you spec it so that it gives you more damage when you're in it, or you can also spec it so that you take more damage, so it becomes this multi-purpose armor effectively. And if you've got full Medigels and you go to a Medigel refill, it will give you experience, and the experience it gives you is more than it is when you kill a brute, so you want to make sure to do that a lot. And right now, I should probably say this earlier on in the video, but you want to change your brightness on this game, because some of the levels coming up are so fucking dark, it's ridiculous, and if you bump the brightness up, it just makes them a lot easier to see the enemies. And it doesn't take away anything from the game, because the lighting still looks fine, but some areas, especially the catacombs and things like that, they're really dark, so that's why I did that, and that's why I left it in, so that I could be reminded to tell you guys to do the same. But I've just picked up our first assault rifle, which is the Vindicator, and this is a triple burst rifle that is very powerful, but it's got a lot of recoil, and I'm kind of off and on with the assault rifles. I don't have one that I prefer. I used to love the Covenant off of Mass Effect 2, but when I got it on this game, it didn't work the same. It just felt nowhere near as effective, and I couldn't get behind it. So what I did on my first playthrough on Insanity is I experimented with every one of the assault rifles, and I kind of changed them depending on my mood, and they're all effectively the same. And I mean that almost metaphorically. They're all good guns in their own way. Some of them are super accurate and fire really fast but don't do a lot of damage. Other ones do more damage but are less accurate and fire slower. And it's all about your preference of what you want to do. And I'm going to be using the Vindicator for the rest of the game. There is one assault rifle later on that fires grenades that I had a lot of fun with on my first playthrough, and I thought it was really powerful, but when I look back, it really wasn't. It was just, you know, like anything else, so it's all preference what gun you use, in my opinion. And this section here, you don't have to shoot her, there's no point, just chase her. It's all pre-programmed, she will always get away from you, there's no way to stop her. It's all, you know, preset in motion, just follow it, and keep hitting those checkpoints and what have you. And we're moving to the end of the Mars section. And when you get up here, it's going to go into a little cinematic mode as Vega's going to, you know, prove that he's a crazy bastard. And this character's also going to show some revealing truths. But I'm going to try and keep as many spoilers out of this guide as I can, as many of the cutscenes and all that good stuff. Later on in the videos, I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about spoilers, but I will give you a warning before they happen if you don't want to hear them. Because there's a lot of stuff to be discussed. Like, there's dream sequences that happen in this game every so often where you're basically running around a forest trying to find this little kid that appeared on the first level. And they're the most fucking stupid, pointless things ever. There's no challenge to them, they make no sense, and they're not going to be in this guide because nobody needs help on how to basically move around a cutscene, because that's exactly what they are. But as soon as you get back in control, you want to shoot this bitch before she gets to you. I'm pretty sure she'll kill you if you don't, but I've never given her the benefit of the doubt. So, thanks for watching, and you take care now.